Hello everyone, this is Charlotte. This podcast is called Chatting in Cars. It's where hopefully I can get to work without running someone over. And the majority of it is talking about shit that I've gone through, or just shower thoughts essentially. You don't have to listen to me, I'm full of shit. There is a lot of swearing, and there's a disclaimer at the start of the podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics. I don't stay on one topic at all. I tend to network think, which means that I travel between thoughts. Because everything is pretty much interconnected, so it's hard to have a linear thought line and just stay in one direction, considering everything touches everything. So, you know, if you don't want to listen to that kind of crap, I do tend to go on tangents as well. I waffle because I'm old. So, you know, and everything is sort of cyclic as well, so I can understand my, frustration when I used to listen to my grandparents talking and everything would sort of cycle back to the same shit. It's like, it's just reaffirming connections at this point, so it tends to make sense in the end. You're like, okay, I got that bit. I swear a lot as well. I'm unapologetic about my swearing actually, because I enjoy it. I mean, how often do you get to say fuck? I mean, I work in a classroom, so I don't get to say any kinds of naughty swear words, so I'm gonna have fun now. Yeah, so the topic for today is on my way to work, which is Monday. Fear. Pretty much. This is that horrible intersection again. I don't like it. Fears. Now, fears are justified. Some fears are justified. On the extreme, or in the extreme, I should say. That's a horrible intersection. I hate that. In the extreme, they are made into phobias, obviously, where you can't really justify the amount of fear you attributed to this particular thing or component or aspect of something. For example, I don't have a fear of getting pregnant. I don't want to. So, and when I was growing up, I had a fear of it though, because it's like childbirth and watching birth itself. Have you ever watched someone being born? It's fucking traumatic just to watch. I can't imagine being in that experience. So growing up, I had an aversion to it. I was like, I'm not getting married, I'm not having kids, I'm not doing that because it's fucking horrible. And I had a real fear of it. At this point, I don't want to. I've been pregnant twice, so it's not really a problem anymore. I don't want them. I've had that much experience with kids that I know what they're about, and I'm just thinking, I don't mind if whoever I end up with has them, but at the same time I know that I don't want to make more, because I know it's a lot of hassle, it's a lot of drama. I mean, considering now I have all my time and my resources and I can just get up and do whatever I want to do and not have to worry about dragging a whole legion of kids around, it's quite nice. It's that freedom as well, and to be able to have extra time and resources and things to do what you want to do, rather than constantly have to worry about someone's soccer game or going somewhere and just not having any peace or quiet. So, and I knew that was coming when it comes to things like kids, because I work in the classroom. I know what they're like. I know the noise levels, the chaos, and the general, they're grubby. So it's like, I know what's associated with having kids and what it takes to raise them. So I'm just like, I don't mind doing it for a job. Not in my house. That was, previously when I was married and stuff like that. But now getting older, I'm sitting there thinking, whoever I end up is probably going to have kids anyway. So I don't mind bringing them with, but just, I'm not going to openly make my own. So I don't really have that fear of pregnancy anymore. But I do I have a fear of anything else? I mean, that was the only thing that really stood out. I mean, I've gone through fearful experiences. I've been assaulted. That was not fun. And you do feel the adrenaline running when you do get assaulted, because I was stupid in my mid-20s, and I'd gone for a walk at some like 3 o'clock in the morning just to clear my head, because I was jet lagged coming back from a trip for something, just a UK trip. And I'd gone for a walk to try and clear my head because I couldn't sleep, and it was just in a suburban area. I mean, my old area where I used to live is not the safest area. I was a bit dumb in that regard, thinking that it would be okay to just go for a wander, and I actually ended up getting assaulted in 2008. There's a police report and everything about it, but this guy obviously got the wrong end of the stick and thought I was interested in him. So, you know, I was reluctant, which he didn't like. So I ended up getting punched and shit. So, I was more in shock that a guy had hit a girl than I was the physical side of things. And that contributed to my trauma and stuff like that. Why I don't like going out at night and why I don't feel safe going out at night. Not that there's any point to being out at night, really. There's nothing really out there that's that interesting, particularly 3 o'clock in the morning. And I used to live in a fairly alternative place as of 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Roughly 3 years ago. Where we would sit in an apartment block and we could hear downstairs in the middle of a town. You could hear downstairs like crackheads running around at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're sitting there going, well, I don't want to go on a walk there. So I'm not going down there. It's not particularly interesting. So it's less of a fear, more of a common sense. That's not going to be fun, so I'm not going to do that. Why would I bother? Fears as well. I mean, lots of people have different types of fears. It's not just a case of I'm afraid to try something new, for example. I'm not afraid to try something new because if you fail, you fail. Most people are afraid of failing in that regard. They're not willing to try new things in case of failure, in case of looking bad. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, who are you worried about looking bad for? Is it you? Is it the people around you? Is it a social validation thing? Do you need these people to like you? Aren't you happy with who you are yourself? Why does it matter what these fuckers think? And there is, of course, you know, I've used that analogy before where there's the crabs in the bucket analogy and everybody's sort of dragging each other down to make sure they don't rise above the next person, you know. It's like, how dare you be better than me, so I'm going to drag you down. And so there is that element of that. So people are afraid to try something new. I don't think you should be afraid of that. I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can really, because I've got ASD, I don't have no real grasp of my emotions in depth when it comes to like guilt or depression or, you know, all those high intensity moments where people, like, their life falls apart or they've done something intensely wrong. Generally, if I do something wrong, I'll just feel bad. You know, I do feel bad. I always use cake analogies. If you've eaten someone's cake that they were saving in the fridge for the next day, I will feel bad. I won't feel guilt because I'm like, you left desserts unattended, but and you know what I'm like. But at the same time, I'll feel bad because I'm like, I know you were saving that. Maybe that's what I need to do. I just need to attribute cake metaphors to most feelings, and that will help me understand the depth of them. Total Taurus. Tell me again about the food and go in depth. I need to know all about it. Fucking saucy flirt. Tell me about the icing. Strange food fetishes. Anyway, I'm joking. I don't know, actually. But, you know, we don't cross genres. I was thinking the other day, it's like they were showing pictures of, and I do this on my Instagram. I'm not looking at hot guys on my Instagram. I'm looking at animals and food. It's really weird. I was looking at this because my sister keeps sending me cafe videos of places she wants to take me in London. I'm sitting there going, yeah, we should go there. The dirtier the food, the better, right? It's like the more chocolatey, the better. I might be perverted. It's like when it comes to food, I don't know. How bad is this? But, you know, she was sitting there and there was a crossing of genres and I got angry about it. And I don't know why. It's probably ASD because it's mixing things that shouldn't be mixed, and OCD. And I got OCD mildly, apparently. But I'm like, it was chocolate covered fruit and I got angry. It's like, why would you get angry about that? Because they're mixing genres. Sorry. You know, it's my ringtone. I got to make the Benjamins. But they were mixing, I think it was like strawberries and chocolate dipped strawberries. It pisses me off when they do that. It's like, either we're eating cleaner or we're not. I mean, what are you trying to do here? It's, why would you do that? Either eat the fruit as fruit or eat the chocolate with something like nuts and caramel and shit. Why are you mixing shit? It's like you're lying. It's like, it feels like you're lying. Yeah, it just seems odd. Why would you do that? I'm weird. Anyway, pick one, pick a side. You're in denial. It's like, it's healthy, but it's chocolate, but it's healthy. It's not actually. Fruit and nut chocolate pisses me off too, actually. I'm going, why would you put sultanas with something so good? They're evil. I hate them. I like coconut too, but fuck that. That's the thing, is like Christmas time or whatever it is, you always get like, is it Equality Street or is it? I think it's Rose. One of them has coconut and I hate it. So I'm like, I gotta date someone who's willing to eat coconut for me. I need you to take a bullet for me. It's Bounty. I hate it. You're gonna have to do this for me. Please eat this. I can't stand waste. And I can't bear to throw it away. So you're gonna have to eat it. And usually it was my little sister Pookie because she loved Bounties. But it's like, please. I'll eat the licorice. I don't care. I love licorice. You gotta eat the gross stuff. It's like, but licorice is the gross stuff. No, coconut is the real villain here. You chew it enough, it's like sawdust. Horrible, horrible coconutty sawdust. And then you cough it out, and it's like, ugh, why did I put it in my mouth? Nobody likes Bounties really. That's why they're always the last one to go. That and a dark chocolate. I don't mind dark chocolate. I could talk about food all day. It's a weird fetish. Anyway, so we're not going there. But you know, it's fears. What am I afraid of? I used to be afraid, like I had intense fears growing up, and I'm fucked in the head for this reason. It's like vampires. Like I was convinced growing up there were vampires in the dark, and I was like, I go to bed with my blanket like here. It's like if I cover up my neck, you can't get to it. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I was never allowed to watch horror movies and shit growing up. So things like ghosts and vampires, where you're afraid of them, it's like, where does this come from? It didn't make sense. So I had an irrational fear of that kind of shit. Bearing in mind I live with berserker parents, so it's like, why are you afraid of them? Your parents are the real threat. It's like, I'm not afraid of them, I'm just angry with them. It was insane. And we were told from a young age that we're surrounded by pedophiles and kiddie fiddlers, and as soon as we leave the house, you're gonna get done, you know? It's like, so you don't leave the house. It was an entrapment, really. There's conditioned entrapment, because at one point you just don't want to leave. It's, what's that disorder they talk about, where someone gets kidnapped and they're convinced the outside is worse, but the people who are holding them hostage are the real heroes here because they've saved you from this outside. And it's misinformation, it's conditioning, and it's horrible trauma bonding situation. It's like pretty much my parents. Out there is evil. Like if you look at Tangled, like that story is the song at the start, Mother Knows Best. Fucking accurate. Fucking accurate. I'm sitting there going, I'm watching the song as an adult and I'm going, holy fuck. Don't go out there. People are evil. They just want to hurt you. But this woman the whole time is just using this girl for her magical powers. I'm sitting there going, fucking hell. Art imitating life. Someone who made this film has gone through this. The same as Encanto, where you've got all these people facing these tribulations and things and their differences and having to deal with all these differences. And, you know, someone who made that film has gone through that. I'm sitting there going, you put yourself in there, haven't you? It's like, you know what you're talking about. And of course I'm Bruno. I don't mind being Bruno. I got no filter and I tell people what they don't want to hear, and it hurts sometimes, but it needs to be said. And someone, and I do feel a bit Karen-y at times, but I'm trying to work on my tactfulness. But at the same time, it's like, you're not fixing things because you don't want to hear it, and if it's blunt, then at least it's true. I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit to make you feel better. That's possibly why some of the arguments with my siblings started. I'm a bit blunt. I'm trying to be nice and figure it out and find nice ways of telling the truth, but at the same time, people don't want to hear the truth at times because it hurts. And they're afraid of that. It's like they don't want to deal with the reality of the situation. They'd rather believe the lie and be comfortable, somewhat comfortable. Most people living in a delusion that things like the relationships in the workplace or their family lives are some, you know, chocolate box reality. When you look at it, it's not. There's a lot of fucked up shit going on, but no one wants to deal with it. And even if you do want to stay in that situation, you still got to deal with the reality of it, break the delusion, and handle it. Fix what bits can be fixed if you want to stay. But they don't want to even hear that. It's too much like pain, it's too much like discomfort, and it breaks the illusion I've created in order to survive this mechanism of oppression, it seems. And I did that when I was married, because I didn't want to break the dream. the illusion and facade that I had created about this guy. So I'm not immune to it. I was afraid of leaving and being alone. That was my main problem, I think. I built myself around him. Fucking landslide. Damn you, Fleetwood Mac. Why are you so smart? You know, it built my world around you. You know, I didn't know any better, and I didn't want to know any better because I was afraid of different. And as humans, we are afraid of different because it's part of the survival mechanism. If we, you know, different could be death in a natural sense, you know, that's the problem. It promotes fear, but at the same time, growth, if you're sitting there circling around the same pond, growth comes from different. It's someone standing up and saying, I've got a better idea, or I've got a different idea, let's try it out. So you're stuck in this tide pool of bullshit because you're afraid of making change. Now, as a person with autism, change is not easy for me. And half the time I'm sort of thrown in because I refuse to change, or I refuse to, because I don't have to do it. And I keep putting it off. I know I keep putting it off because I'm like, I'll do it later. I'll deal with it later. Let me just get a grasp of what's going on here. But at some point in your life, you're going to be faced with a tower moment where your absolute reality crumbles. You're not going to have a choice. Like in tarot, the chance you get to decide for yourself with divine intervention, and in an innocent sense, is the Fool card. It's a guy standing on a cliff and he's kind of whimsical and like, oh, I could fall, I could not. But the whole thing about it is having the balls and the guts to fucking jump and try it. That's when you get the Fool card. It's like they are asking you, have a fucking go. You never know. What comes afterwards if you don't fucking do the right thing, or what, you know, the universe wants you to do, is usually the Tower card. We tried to ask you nicely. Now you're gonna get fucked. That's the thing, is they will force you to do the right thing. A lot of people just keep putting it off. The temperance in reverse, for example. I think it's temperance in reverse. Where you're now, I mean, temperance in reverse is essentially taking the piss out of the divine. It's saying the temperance is divine timing. They're saying this is our plan, this is our schedule, we need to stick with it so we can get every other ball rolling in the universe, so it's not just a case of you doing what you want to do. You ignore the temperance in reverse, you're basically slapping the divine in the face saying, fuck you, I'm doing it on my time. It's like, no, because it's not just about you, it's about every other fucker on this planet. And it's that selfishness and arrogance that generally gets punished by a tower moment. She'll just kick you off a fucking bridge, you know, like fucking Spartan style, you know? This is Sparta! Fuck you! And she's a lovely lady, the universe, but at the same time, don't piss her off. She's got Kali Ma working in the background going, let me do it. It's like, you don't want to piss them. Don't piss her off. She makes things happen and she doesn't care how it happens, she just makes sure it happens. That's the thing, is like, you're wondering if the universe has a conscience. It's like, not really. She just wants the job done, she doesn't care how it gets done. Conscience is relevant, moral codes are relevant, you know, it's relative to the context you find yourself in. She doesn't give a fuck. It's like, I said it will be and it will. So I don't care how it gets there. You know, she's don't piss her off. Just take the first chance you get, just go with it, man. Try it, because she's trying to do it nicely, and she'll always send like the nicest people to try and coax you into doing the nice thing, the right way. I mean, of course there are like dark workers, for example, and I've talked about these people before, which are disguised as light workers. I'm a light worker, but I'm a light worker. I don't go near the dark side. It doesn't interest me, and I have no natural inclination towards that. At one point I tried to be a goth, but I'm like the worst goth. I'm way too happy all the time. I'm sitting going, I had all these people around me in this goth group I was once trying to hang around with, and they're all being like dark and ominous. It's like, oh, it's so cool. And you know what it felt like? That South Park episode with goths. Really poser. And I'm sitting there going, I'm Butters. So I'm terrible as a goth. Can you imagine Butters dressing up as a goth in South Park, you know? It wouldn't work. It's insane. I'm the worst person to try and blend in with that. So I was finding all these cute bunny t-shirts and is it Juan Vasquez? Because I liked Invader Zim at the time, and I'm like, I like his style. I was, you know, Danny the homicidal maniac and shit like that. Doesn't make sense because I'm a really fluffy, happy person, generally. At the moment I'm in teacher uniform, so I'm a bit dulled down, but you know, generally, if you looked at that podcast I did on open relationships, that's normally what I look like. So it's not really, what kind of a goth is that? It's terrible. It's like a fail. But you know, people are afraid of trying these days, and it's that fear of the unknown. Not just these days, I expect. I mean, way back, there was a real risk to your life. These days, people are a lot softened, I find. You know, imagine, like my people, for example, I come from a heritage of Vikings. You imagine if someone pissing their pants at the idea of discovering new land. I mean, what would be the consequence if you didn't try? You'd fucking starve, or you know, you wouldn't discover any new territory or anything like that. It would be a case of no, I just want to stay here, and it's here. And some of the islands where they came from were uninhabitable because they cut all the trees down. There was no vegetation really. It was an icy rock, so they had to go forward. They had to try and build on and explore new areas and get going with it, because you know, if you stay, you perish. It would be insane to not try. The consequence, for example, of these days, you know, being too chicken shit to ask a girl out is you missed your chance. She might never know that you like her, or because you're a bit of a pussy. You know, it's weird. There's no life and death situation here. It's just a case of, if she says no, I might get a bit embarrassed, but then I'll never have to fucking speak to her again, really. It's taken way out of context. There's way too much weight on this particular type of fear now. My feelings might get hurt. And I'm sitting there going, how overgrown is your ego that you're so worried, and so fragile, your ego, that you're worried about someone telling you no? It just seems strange. I mean, I packed myself when I asked that yoga guy out. I packed myself. Beforehand, I could feel my panic attacks and my anxiety kicking in. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to do it on a whim. And I did. And it was, oh God, it was about a year and a half ago or so now. And I don't cringe when I think about it or anything. Sometimes I do things and I cringe. I'm going, what the fuck did I do that? But it's you have to try. I was feeling particularly feisty that day. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'll chance it. I'm older than him. I might not be his type at all. But at least I'm going to try, and I'm going to see what happens. And I wasn't hanging around with that group at the time, and I was not really looking to go back to that group. So, you know, if it's a case of, if he says no, fuck it, I'm never going to see him again. Doesn't matter. There's no consequence, really. It was like, it's a yes or no situation. That's all I needed, was a yes or no answer. And he had a girlfriend, so I'm like, okay, so I'm not carrying this conversation on anymore, because clearly you have someone. I'm not going to disrespect them or you or me in this situation. I'm just going to drop this conversation here. Because he was like he asked me how I was, and I'm sitting going, how do I respond to this so I don't look like a horrible person? So I'm like, okay. I don't want to carry this conversation on, because I think it would be disrespectful to you and your partner. Because I just asked you out, dude. It doesn't make sense to carry it on. I'm just going to leave it here. And it kind of might have looked like ghosting, but at the same time I'm going, at a risk of making myself look bad, I'd rather just not treat you and her like an idiot. So, you know, I don't mind taking the hit for that. I'm going, it's the right thing to do not to carry this conversation on, because it looks like now I'm flirting with an already taken person. I'm going, I'm not that way inclined. I'd rather do the honourable thing and say, what did I say? It was something like, have a great New Year or something like, I don't know. I deleted the text, which is insane. But I'm like, know what? You've chosen. You've got a person. That's okay. I don't need to follow this up any further. You're taken. If there was a change of mind, then I'm assuming he would text or something, but I doubt it. So you're obviously happy where you are, and you know, delete the text and get on with your life. The fear of texting, making the first move itself, was more anxiety. But I kept telling myself, like, nothing will happen, even if he says yes or no. Nothing will happen. What do you think? Someone's going to come outside, or you know, someone's going to turn up on your sofa and knife you in the face for even texting? It's like, nothing's going to happen. This is not life-threatening. This is nothing. It's a yes or no answer. It doesn't matter if he says yes or no. If it's yes, then cool, we go and have a coffee. And if it's no, then cool, I'll go and have a coffee on my own. Fuck it. It's like, I'm not afraid to be alone. I'm not dependent on someone else's approval. I've got no one around me saying that you have to act this particular way. If you ask someone out, then you'll be doing this. Some guys and girls, and I'm not talking about gender, I'm talking about sex, will go on about this bro code or this girl code where you're not allowed to ask one of your friends' exes out or something like that. And I'm sitting there thinking that only exists if there is absolute loyalty in that group. There is not absolute loyalty in that group because they were all flirting and backstabbing each other. I'm sitting there going, I would feel bad if this was a situation where the guys huddled together in a brother-like situation. You know, like my brother's friends are pretty solid that way. He's got a little crew of guys going around, all from high school. But it's a case of you don't ask your friend's ex out, dude. You just don't. And that is true bro code. Although I would understand though, if someone is better suited for that particular person, then there should be some kind of allowance there, I think. Because you wouldn't just exclude someone entirely, knowing that they're a good match. Because it would just be cruel. It's no, but he's my friend. It's like, yeah, but they're actually a good match. So I knew there was no kind of allegiance there, because they're all fucking backstabbing each other. I sat and listened to them. I'm going, how are you all fucking friends? This doesn't make sense. So I had no problem asking him out. I'm sitting there going, clearly you aren't friends. So if this is a better match for me, maybe I will try and ask him out. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But there's no fear of reprisal? Of pushback from this group that I didn't want to fucking belong with anyway. He was the only one that particularly interested me, so I thought I'd shoot my shot, and I got rejected. Oh god. Damn. My womanly ways were nothing. I don't particularly consider myself in any way particularly attractive or vain or anything like that. And I'm pretty dorky as well, so I don't give a fuck. I know I'm weird. You can reject me on a multitude of things and it won't bother me because I'm already dealt with the reality of what I am. I'm very safe in myself and my identity at this point. I know I'm weird. I know I'm not for everyone. So if you say no, because I'm not attracted to you. If you'd have said, I'm not attracted to you, I'd be like, alright. So I'm not going to have my feelings hurt by that. Cool, okay. Plus I'm like, I think about 2 or 3 years older. I think so. Maybe he likes young girls, so that's a factor as well. I feel a bit old compared, but I'm like, we're around the same age, so it wouldn't really be a problem. That was my reasoning. I wouldn't go any lower than 30. 30 is crazy. I'm sitting there, I'm practically parenting you. I'm not doing this. But you know, people are so afraid about what their friends will say, what their friends will do, or you can't be part of our crew. And it's like, no, I want to be fucking part of your crew anyway. You're douches. It's like, it just doesn't make sense to belong to a group that won't support you in your emotional development, for example. I mean, if you knew this was a good match and you didn't act on it because you were afraid of what your friends would think, it would be weird. I would consider it, in a horrible way, maybe weak, because it means that you're subject to the masses, and to be honest, the masses around you aren't great examples of what to do as a man. They're just not. I was looking at them and going, you follow these people, they're gonna be leading you down a particular type of lifestyle that you're just not gonna be happy with in the long term anyway, and you've just missed out on an opportunity. I consider myself an opportunity. I'm a bit vain in that way. A potential happiness, because you know your friends have said, oh, you can't do that. So it seems unreasonable, but at the same time, I'm not intensely involved in the dynamics of that group. It seems to be a collective of fuckboys, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know what the rules are there, but I just know I shot my shot. I had a go, and I didn't feel bad about it, and I did the right thing in that. Like, as soon as I knew he was taken, I'm like, back off. I'm like, no, because that's girl code. That is true girl code. As long as you know that someone's got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you back the fuck off. You don't try and, well, I'm going to be friendly with you, and maybe you'll leave them for me. And it's like, no. No, that's dishonorable. We don't do that. That's a slut code. It's the competing for someone's affection, and as soon as you get them, it's like, you're not going to stay anyway. You just want to use them to say you've got this person. It's another notch on your belt. It's ridiculous. I don't like that at all. And it's leading guys on and breaking their heart for no fucking reason except to say that you've just stroked your ego and said, I can. I don't agree with that. I hate that kind of shit. It's selfish. So why would I lead this person on knowing, first of all, that I've just asked them out? So they know I'm in a particular position here, which is awkward. I wouldn't carry that conversation on. It's absurd. It's not done. It's not the done thing to do, is it? It's improper. But you don't want to break their heart. You don't want to hurt their feelings. I mean, I would never lead a guy on flirting wise unless I was interested, and particularly I'm a nice person in general in social circumstances, but I'm not flirting. Oh, I can't flirt, really. I really can't flirt. I'm terrible. I just can't. I can't even imagine how you would. It's like, I brought you this shiny rock. I brought you a box of Ferreros, and I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm terrible. I can't do it. I do tend to give gifts though, but not always is that flirting. Like I got sea monkeys for my ex-boyfriend's friend only because, he had an interest in using this microscope thing. And I'm like, I now have an interest in using your microscope thing. I want you to grow sea monkeys so I see what they look like. I mean, is that manipulative? I don't know. But we had maybe a co-interest there in something. I hope he grew those fucking sea monkeys, dude. I'm like, I wasted 20 bucks on that shit. It's like, grow the fucking monkeys. Please. I can't do waste. But it's the nice gesture. I like nice gestures for people. Even if you aren't flirting, you should try and be nice and do things. And my niceness happens to be in the physical. It could be because I'm a Taurus. It could be because I came from a poverty background. But if you find me buying food for you, that's mainly my love language. I brought you this box of candies. Marry me. No, it's like, you cannot propose with Ferreros. It's insane. Or can you? It can be done. It might be done. Of course, I'd be wondering about how much you spent on it. I'd be like, don't do that. Why aren't you just accepting the romance of the Ferrero? No, I need to know. I need to know. I'm going Sheldon. I need to know. Is it Sheldon or is it Moss from IT Crowd, where he counts staples? He's like, I need to know. Let it go, man. Let it go. 1, 2. Sorry. I need to know how much. Not that it's any kind of measure of your affections. I'm just numbers. Weird. Anyway, so you're sitting there and I'm nearly at work. Fuck. What time is it? Oh, 5 minutes early. We gun it. I passed through a portal. I went to the Bermuda Triangle and then unfortunately landed at work. Fuck. I want to be lost at sea. I want to be Amelia Earhart, whatever it is, Bernhardt. But it's insane. You can't have these unrealistic fears. I mean, there are justified fears, obviously. I've been assaulted. I knew what the adrenaline pumping through my body was. I know what it is. I used it up until I was about 12, actually. I outgrew it, and after that was just disgust and anger about the violence and shit. And I'm sitting there going, I know this is unfair. I know it, but I can't do anything about it, so I'm just going to have to sit with it. So it was less a case of anxious anxiety, fear, and more a case of anger, disgust. And that lasted well up into my 20s and past, actually. It was a time period where I just didn't associate with my family. I was like, I don't want to go anywhere near you fuckers. I don't want anything to do with you. And it went on for years. Partially isolated by my ex-husband, who contributed to the problem. He's like, you don't have to go back. I'm like, I know I don't have to go back. But he wanted me isolated for a different reason. He wanted to have control over the kind of person I was. And I was his plaything. So it's like, I can, be customized. Whole podcasts on that. Done. But there was no real fear past 12. I have trouble feeling nervous as well, like physical symptoms of nervousness. Now, I might just have been desensitized. It could be ASD. It could be a trauma response where the feelings are so intense that you just ignore them. You override them somehow, chemically. But at the same time, it's not a good thing. You become numb because it's so much stimulus. I'd rather feel fear at this point, but at the same time, that's why I won't medicate. I don't want to lose all feelings. Like my lecturer when I was doing my doctorate said, you should, because I was going through the depressive episode while I was trying to do my doctorate, and that's insane and hard to do. But I was trying to do it, and she's like, just medicate. Just what was it she wanted me to do? She wanted me to go on antidepressants. I'm sitting there going, first of all, you're a lecturer. You shouldn't be pushing medication just to deal with a situation which is clearly making me uncomfortable and affecting my mental health. But she's like, just medicate. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna move. I don't know where to. Actually, I won't. Okay. It's making me uncomfortable. I don't want to medicate. She was like, just to get through it, just take the tablets. I'm like, I don't want to do that. First of all, I got a degree in behavioral psychology, so I'm going to behaviorally try and adapt to this situation if I can, if not change it. But she's heavy on it. Just band-aid it to get through it, and I just, this clearly is the wrong situation, and I'm not dealing with this properly. So maybe I just need to stop, reassess, and try and realign what I need to do, rather than band-aid the situation and just keep going, which is what I've done with a multitude of things in my life, which didn't help, which caused, a semi-nervous breakdown in my 30s. It's saying people just, it's that fear of the pain that's associated with change as well. You can't medicate fears. You just can't. You've got to deal with the situation, and it's going to be painful. Fear is generally stemming from a fear of pain or the result of what will occur, like a breakup, for example. What will be the ripple effect from me leaving this person? I don't know, I keep going back to these analogies. I might be homeless. I was. I might go into debt because I'm trying to pay off this shit that they put me in. I did. There's no understanding of I'll ever find someone again. I'm afraid of being alone. I've enmeshed my entire identity in this person. Do I stay just because I know who I am or what I am in this particular circumstances, even though potentially I could deserve better and I could do better, way better? Do I sit and take it because, I've got a fear of what could be? Most people feel the negative side of things. It's like fear is usually associated with negative feelings. But then again, there's those crazy people that do bungee jumping for fun. I'm going, no. I have a fear of heights. Hey, I got a fear of heights. I can't. I used to have dreams about jumping out of army. What do the paras jump out of? Whatever they jump out of, because I used to have nightmares about it. Because I know I got a fear of heights. I'm going, how the fuck did I get in this situation? I'm not designed for this. Like my ex-husband wanted to go, what's that thing where you jump out of planes? I'm going, are you fucking insane? I can barely do roller coasters and I hate them. I have fear of heights, fast movements, like roller coasters. It's not fear, it's just, but at the same time, it's like, I can't, like, there's no fun in that for me. It's the getting the adrenaline running. And they go, oh, but what a rush. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've lived the first how many years in chaos? There is no rush associated with fear of losing my life. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. If anything, I'm trying to, get my cortisol levels down. It's like, just keep them down. Just bring them right down. But, some people are crazy and they chase that high. Is it high? Is that near-death experience? Why would you enjoy that? It doesn't make sense, because it fucks up your survival mechanism. You become desensitized to it, and so you're chasing that constant high, and you're doing dumber and dumber things. It's jumping off planes. I'm going to scale the Eiffel Tower without a rope, and then whoops, I fell and died. It's testing weird shit, and they say it's testing boundaries. I'm sitting there going, it's testing logic at this point. You're tempting fate. Why would you do that? So I can understand why that level of fear is justified. But the fear of making a change in your life for the better is strange. It's also an energy thing as well, I find. Like, as you get older, you're less inclined to want to make changes because you're just fucking tired. It's like, it's such a hassle if I do this. It's such a hassle if I move house. It's such a hassle if I do all the signing divorce papers and then we got to figure out all this extra shit. So I might as well just stay where I am because it's easier. Hey, an email. No. Someone likes me. Wait, is it a bill? But it's tiredness mixed with fear of the unknown, and you sort of stick yourself in a situation as well where you can't grow and you're stunted and you just sit with it because you've settled. It could be terrible for you, but because you're afraid of leaving or reaching for something different, because maybe your peers are sitting there going, well, why should you reach for something different? Why should you do something different that you just don't tend to try? Fear of rejection as well. It's like, what if I reach for something but I don't get it? That's absurd. You should be glorifying this fact that you even tried. Like in the classroom, we tell kids, you should be happy that you tried. Just give it a go, have a go. And that was a big push, like it was a slogan near enough in around about 2000 in schools. It was the have a go method. Have a go, have a go. And it sounds fucking menial because it's like, how is that a slogan? But kids would just not risk it because it sounded either too hard or they couldn't be bothered, or you might fail and that would make you look silly. And we're sitting there going, now it's formed a basis for a lot of our education. Hello, Bubby. A lot of our practices. I know that one. What am I, you one? Practices where kids, you're promoting, you're constantly pushing. You can do, have a go. I mean, at least try, right? When a lot of low SES classes and schools, the kids are so jaded by their life experiences on the outside of the school that they don't want to even risk having a go because my friends will think I'm a fucking idiot, which is in the culture around us, the low achieving culture. And I rag on these people, but I come from them, so I'm allowed to. Where anything like anomalies towards achievement are met with, oh, you think you're better than us. And really, in order to get out of the shit gutter that you exist in, and it is a shit gutter. I've been on the Centrelink lines. I know the food banks. I know all that shit. It sucks. You don't want to live that way for the rest of your life. But in order to get out of that, you got to risk it for the biscuit, man. It's like, And if we're going for biscuits, we're making a Tim Tams or something good, right? None of this shit. This Wheatons without any actual chocolate on them. Who does that? It's pathetic. But you gotta try. If you're gonna go big. Fuck it. I mean, and then you can turn around, flick the bird, and keep walking. It's like, well, I tried and you didn't, so here you are stuck in the gutter and fuck you. There's no bitterness associated with that for me. I just come back to my old suburban areas and I get a bit frustrated. Oh shit, am I on duty today? Yes. Ooh, I got to round it up. Yeah, I got 10 minutes. But at the same time, it's like when you're on a mission, okay? So you get out of a shit situation, and I'm thinking Forrest Gump here. If you get out of a shit situation, you should always come back for your buddies. It's like, he's running through the Viet Cong area. There's all explosives and shit. It's like, I gotta go back for Papa. Don't look at it in a bitter way that you're changing for the better and you're going to fuck these guys off and fuck them, which is a lot of people get bitter about it and they get angry because these people try to drag them down. Rather see it as a situation or opportunity where you can come back and get Bubba and take him forward with you. I mean, and how many other fucking guys did he come back for? I mean, that's good leadership, I think. So whenever you get haters, sitting there going, oh, you shouldn't try for anything better, it sucks to be you should stay here with us and just be one of us. I don't care. I don't want you to be happy because if I can't be happy, you can't be happy. And what do they say about misery loves company? Guys, that collective shittiness, it's like pushing everyone down because you can't escape the shit yourself. You see it in 8 Mile, you see it in Dead Poet Society, it's crabs in a bucket, it's tall poppy syndrome, it's so many different things that we are just surrounded by and we just take for granted and don't recognize that it actually is a fucking problem. Any real growth comes from change and addressing the fears associated with changing and reaching for something different. So I don't think anyone should get stuck in it, and it's easier said than done because you've got to counteract the intuitive survival mechanism of change is different is bad, different could mean I die. that's a mechanism in our heads and souls to a degree, and it needs to be overridden in order to have growth. So you got to work towards that. Harder said than done. It does take practice. The fear of the unknown, you got to give it a go, but again, you've got to have a go, isn't it? Now I've got to go because I've got to be on duty in 8 minutes, making sure my year 6s don't run around with scissors at each other, although probably they're bringing some other stuff from home, which probably isn't great. So I'm hoping you have a fantastic Monday. Moon Day in the it's old, I think it's Nordic or Celtic culture, Moon Day, or is it Roman, where it's the fear of the unknown. The first day of the week, we don't know what's going to happen for the week, so enjoy the mystery. If you're in the tarot cards, it's illusions, secrets, the unknown, so just enjoy the mystery. Try and figure out some, you know, if there's any illusions you have about your fears, for example, maybe you could address those. Maybe they are just illusions. You're not really considering the factors properly, or blowing them out of proportion. Maybe, I don't know. I tend to do that. Apparently I catastrophize. I'm like, fuck off. There are things to catastrophize about and things to not catastrophize about. What I catastrophized about was true. It's like, dickhole. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a fantastic Monday and just stay chill.